Now, noticeably absent from all of last year's announcements about Marvel movies was anything to do with Spider-Man 4, and although that may have come at the end of the year at CCXP, Sony backed out. The only announcements they did have is that Kraven the Hunter, which was supposed to release this month, got pushed back until October of this year, taking over Madam Web's slot, which got pushed back to February 16th of 2024. However, just 3 days ago, there were some light murmurs in the industry as an untitled Sony Marvel movie made its way onto the calendar for the middle of 2024, a summer which had heavily and optimistically been rumored to hold perhaps the release date for Spider-Man 4, and although it's content at the channel, and that's all we do, everything from official Easter egg breakdowns, trailers, and reviews, to the occasional industry insider report, and everything in between. So if that sort of thing's for you, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below.
You know how crazy that's gonna be, bro, if like it's some movie then all of a sudden Miles Morales just comes through? That's gonna be insane.
We'll automatically enter you to win our ongoing PS5 giveaway, which is right around the corner. Yeah, again, all stuff from Sony Pictures will be put out in 2024, tentatively dated for July 12th of that year. Now, unfortunately, as I mentioned moments ago in the prologue, a lot of optimistic fans were hoping for news on Spider-Man 4 anytime soon. If the script could be pushed through and they could move to filming soon, then they were hoping it could make it out by summer or maybe even December of 2024. Now we know for sure summer is rolled out as most likely this is the release date for Venom 3. El Muerto is set to release in January of that year. Madam Web has tentatively been pushed back to February 16th. That's if it's not delayed again for the third time. And the reason that we know that this is for sure Venom 3 and not Spider-Man 4 is because of the public announcements and details for Venom 3 that
Venom
have already
3 was
been
so trash though. Yeah, El Muerto, bro. I don't know about. Are they gonna do an Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man 3? Cause that came out what 12 years ago. It's just I don't. Venom 2 was such a letdown, bro. It didn't make no sense, bro. Like, I was expecting, I love Venom, the first Venom movie. I was like, bro, they got something. And it's Sony. Like, Sony just needs to give Marvel all the rights. It's stupid, like, that they can sit there and this is the thing, bro. I don't understand how Marvel has to get permission from Sony to do Spider-Mans, but you can have 3 or 4 different people doing Batman movies. Like, who owns the right to Batman? So you telling me that DC or whoever don't own Batman, but Sony can sit there and own Spider-Man? Like, it don't make sense to me.
And out there, we know that they have a script. Tom Hardy posted it to his social media. They also announced a director, and Kelly Marcel. No, Andy Serkis will not be back to direct the third film after Let There Be Carnage.
Bro.
There were even some updates that it may film in London and
Morbius
sometime
is so
soon.
ass too.
None of those announcements have been made for Spider-Man.
I don't
so
want
as
to see
optimistic
Tyrese.
as we all
He
want to
wasn't
be
good in
about
it.
this film being around the corner, unless they've already secretly hired a director and or have been developing the script, then they still
Now,
may be.
if they did Sinister 6, yes. But as far as Morbius movie, like a Morbius 2, I don't want to see that shit. I want to see a Sinister 6. Even Spider-Man 4, bro. I don't know what they're going with, because he's going to go back to your neighborhood Spider-Man. He's not going to have like the suit anymore. It's going to be his own suit. No one's going to know who he is. It's just confusing on that whole thing, bro. It's almost like they don't even want to really do a Spider-Man.
They've already secretly hired a director and or have been developing the script, then they still may be a ways off, still stuck in pre-development. I think the truth is they haven't found the director for the film yet, and that's why we haven't had an announcement. And in light of that, while there have been industry insiders and Twitter scoopsters talking about some details for the film, some of which we're going to get into
Sonic
in just a second.
That Sonic 2 was so... That's how you do a sequel. Sonic 2 is how you do a sequel. Bro, Dr. Robot, Jim Carrey is not only one of the funniest actors of all time, bro, he's one of the most brilliant mind actors of all time. Just the way he can turn it on and off, bro, they did that justice. I wish they would have did more with Tails and Knuckles, but I think they're going to have Shadow in the new one. Like, I can't wait for that movie.
May be a ways off. Not all hope is lost, though. What I will say is that the timeline for No Way Home sort of looked like start filming in October, released by December of the next year. So if they can get this thing together, and start filming by the end of this year, there's a chance we'll get it by December of 2024, which has been the other huge rumor. Speaking of rumors, Twitter scoopster Film Odyssey MCU weighed in with some recent details for Spider-Man 4 and Miles Morales. This just days ago, this is what he had to say, quote, "It's been mentioned Miles Morales will be in Spider-Man 4. He won't be the same age as Peter Parker. He'll be younger. A little bit of time will have passed since Spider-Man No Way Home, from what I can tell. No word on if Donald Glover will be returning as his uncle. We'll have to wait and see." Now, this is the third industry insider, or second industry insider and third scoop, that said Miles Morales will be part of Spider-Man 4. And other than Miles Morales being a part of Secret Wars from the original storyline in 2015, I gotta say, it just really feels too soon. Now, obviously, they seeded this Easter egg in Homecoming. They had Donald Glover show up and talk about his nephew. He was the Prowler. Obviously, they were insinuating he was already existing in the MCU. We knew he would show up eventually, but for a Sony
It's just like, what made me really love Sonic 2 was how they, I think whoever makes Sonic, bro, played the game as a kid and really wanted to bring the essence. How they had the maze at the end, how Sonic, well, I forgot the name of Aquatic Gardens, whatever it's called, they were at. Just the way they were able to do that, bro. They kept it lighthearted. They kept it, just everything about it, bro. I can't wait for that. Yeah, I still haven't even seen Avatar 2. I heard just like the visuals of it are so dope.
Sonyverse that is still Spider-Man-less. To now introduce a second Spider-Man in the MCU just feels a little soon, especially considering they just hit the reset button and in a huge way for Peter Parker's storyline, and I was hoping we would get a classic Peter Parker story. One other thing I will mention, and for a video that I did 2 days ago, I'll link at the end of this, talking about how the MCU may break into Battleworld after Kang Dynasty, would be a huge argument for if they want to keep the story even somewhat grounded, a street level hero story, or even crossover with Daredevil, as we've heard it may be, they've got to get this thing out before Avengers Kang Dynasty, because it'll feel a little odd to be focusing on Spider-Man, a huge character just in New York at the end of the multiverse saga when all hell is breaking loose, incursions have happened, the multiverse may not exist except for our fractured reality, and then it'll feel just a little small to be focusing on Peter in New York training Miles and they're fighting criminals. Miles Morales or not, I think there's a better shot that the story is actually way bigger than that, and from the outside perspective looking in, and again this is just speculation, perhaps the delay with announcements from this film has nothing to do with the director at all, rather they just don't know what they want to do with the story, and the later it goes, the crazier the MCU is going to be, the more that this story will have to fit into that, and that I think really is the final and most important point. Peter Parker, Miles Morales again or not, Peter Parker Spider-Man is way too much of a moneymaker and huge character not to have involved at the end of the multiverse saga, and so street level hero story or not, eventually they're going to have to tie this in a huge way. There's a chance for Marvel Studios to do comic book proper homage to the original 1980 Secret Wars, okay, the original Secret Wars, where Spider-Man gets the Venom.
Thor Love and Thunder was such a good what? Don't say movie. Don't say it was such a good movie.
Symbiote. That's why they brought him over in the post-credit scene from Spider-Man No Way Home. There's no chance that they're not going to do that. So while the size and scope of the Spider-Man 4 story may be what's ultimately putting them on delay, the longer this goes, the bigger that film is going to have to be to account for everything that's going on, which to me says that they might want to get it out sooner than later, which for fans is what we're all hoping for. So fingers crossed we get an announcement soon, and as I said moments ago in this video, as long as they can start filming by the end of this year, December 2024 is a shot, but now summer 2024 is out, and really, there's a lot of Sony movies coming next year. El Muerto, Madam Web, and Venom 3 will all be coming out within about 6 months, and I know Aaron Taylor Johnson said that that Craven film was the Craven film we all hoped it would be, but
who was El Muerto? That's who Bad Bunny's supposed to play. See, I thought Bad Bunny was supposed to play Blue Beetle. So is he going to have his own movie, or is he going to be part of the Spider-Man movie? I don't know.
Unless they've got Spider-Man crammed into that thing, I'm not really sure how that's possible. And man, Sony has to be super nervous with that many films coming out and all at once. If they don't do well at the box office, it's sort of hard to imagine.
How are they gonna make his own movie if they never introduced him yet, bro? They gotta stop trying to put people just throw them in there just to sit there and get a cash cow. Like, you gotta introduce them. Like Madam Web. Okay, we know Madam Web. I know who Madam Web is, bro. Until like this past year, I never heard of El Muerte, bro.
How these grandiose plans of a Spider-Geddon will ever come to pass. But you guys let me know all your thoughts down below. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff.
I think he gonna play good. Him.
We're still giving away a PlayStation 5.
Craven.
The next giveaway milestone is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania on February 17th.
Okay. I want to see. I gotta see more of him, bro. This is what I want. I want to see him explained. I have no idea who he is.
Just because your business gets complex doesn't mean it has to get complicated. With Asana, adapt to new business needs. Automate workflows, connect global teams, gain real insights so your team can light up the world. Try Asana.
Why did we choose Safe Light? Driving around is how we
Damn
can
ads.
sleep. So when our windshield cracked, we trusted the
So he's a bad guy or
they
a good
focus on
guy?
our safety, so we can focus on this little guy. Safe Light repairs.
So I thought Doctor Strange.
What's going on, guys?
Doctor Strange, I don't think was a bad movie. I just think it had too much hype, and that's what scares me of this Ant-Man movie. I like Doctor Strange. Some people I see don't like it. Was it what it was hyped up to be? I don't think it was. But it was still a good movie, bro. That's what scares me with Ant-Man. How much hype Ant-Man's getting. It's because it seems like Marvel's like, this is gonna make or break phase 6 or 5. We're in 5, right? This is gonna make or break 5. And that's what scares me with it, bro. You just need to make it. When we wasn't expecting greatness when we got Avengers Infinity War. But then Endgame, it was a little letdown because we was expecting over the moon type of stuff, and even though Endgame was good and great, it wasn't Infinity War. That's just how I look at it. Now I like Doctor Strange. I hated Thor, Love and Thunder. I hated She-Hulk. Miss Marvel was okay. That seemed more of a kiddie movie to me. I mean, show. It's stuff that they hype up, bro, always be a letdown, and stuff that you don't expect to be greatness ends up being great.
This is Rob, and Sony is apparently making a spin-off project about El Muerto from Spider-Man, and I don't know why, because this guy literally appeared in 2 comics. It's a 2-part series in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man issues 6 and 7 from 2005 called Masks, and like that's it. After that, he's never seen or heard from again. I think he's referenced in like the Civil War file.
Hold up, Omega. This man was only in 2 comics? Not comic series, just 2 comic book stories. I mean, Scarlet Witch was the point of the whole movie. They do. How is this man gonna get his own movie? And he's a bad guy, right? How's he gonna get his own movie when they don't even know nothing about him? to even make a movie about him. I can see if they had him like as one of the bad guys in a Spider-Man movie, but for him to have his own. All right, this is what scares me. All right, so I'm Puerto Rican, bro, but even I gotta look at it. I don't know what y'all are, bro, but I understand that they're trying to push out, bro. Okay, we got Miss Marvel, Indian girl. We got Black Panther, Africans, bro. We gotta get a Hispanic superhero. This ain't it. El Muerto, bro. Like, and he's a bad guy at that. I just don't see how they're gonna just give him his own movie. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
As part of the 50-state initiative, but like he has no meaningful appearances, so I have no idea how in the world they're going to make a spin-off project about this guy. But for those of you guys who are familiar with this, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man was basically a spin-off Spider-Man title. Not really a spin-off, just kind of another Spider-Man title. That Spider-Man has always been so popular in Marvel Comics that for like decades, they've been able to get away with running like 2 or 3 different Spider-Man titles at the same time. And in fact, I think right now...
I mean, technically that wasn't Mr. Fantastic or Professor. That was from a different multiverse, bro. It's not like they killed that one. Every evil. Yeah, like no, like I don't think anybody wants El Muerto movie. Like nobody knows who he is.
Now, in Marvel Comics, they only have one. They've got like the Amazing Spider-Man, and then you have like Spider-Man Miles Morales. But for a long time, you had like Web of Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man. You had like all kinds of titles. So Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man was just the most recent iteration of that title, running up into really going into 2005. And so the idea behind this is really just kind of treating this like a regular story, because that's really all it is. Essentially, it just kind of picks up with El Muerto basically fighting Peter Parker, wrestling Peter Parker. And we don't exactly know how we got to this point. All we really know is that we just have like J. Jonah Jameson cheering on Spider-Man basically getting defeated by El Muerto. Now, the funny thing about this is normally you would expect Spider-Man to be able to like overcome this guy quite readily, but there is a caveat to El Muerto, which is the mask that he wears. And we'll talk about that here.
So is he supposed to be like a Bane?
It allows him to go toe-to-toe with Peter Parker. So much so that this fight actually ends up becoming a little bit tougher than Peter Parker initially thought that it would. And despite all of his attempts, right, to dodge, bob, and weave, to like come at this guy from different directions, none of it really seems to work. And so what this does is it actually jumps back to the past for really kind of a few panels, and it shows us that somewhere along the line there was this guy whose father was arrested and had basically, you know, he had like killed a cop, right? So he was busted for capital murder, he was charged, imprisoned, and executed. And so because of J. Jonah Jameson's editorials, which were seemingly, as this guy interprets it, the reason why his father ended up basically being killed, because the governor would have pardoned him had his father been able to basically demonstrate that he was a new law-abiding citizen, that because of J. Jonah Jameson's editorial columns, that the governor chose not to. And basically this guy's father was essentially killed. And so where initially this guy's gonna kill Jameson and then kill his son in front of him, you end up having El Muerto who just kind of jumps in. Now, the funny thing about this is that El Muerto he's inherently Spanish, right? He's from Mexico. And so his English isn't all that great. But so the way he speaks is kind of funny, right? He's like, back away, the weapons are to be put down by you. And he even goes so far here is basically saying like, excuse my English, it's not very well, so I will use a universally understood language, the language of violence. Because as we've talked about here on Comics Explained so many times before, violence is not always the answer, but it is a answer, and it's usually a very effective one. And so basically El Muerto just like beats this guy up. He literally just starts pummeling. And then once this guy's defeated, of course, he basically ends up freeing J. Jonah Jameson and his son. Now, when the question's asked by Jameson, how in the world did you even know to come here in the first place? The response of El Muerto is, I've actually been watching you for a while. I've been trying to find the best way to approach you, and I figured you being tied up and about to be killed would probably be the best time to step in and make my presence known. And so again, you do kind of jump back to the fight between Peter and El Muerto. The reality is, it's ironically enough, it's kind of filler, right? Like this segment with Spider-Man is largely filler stuff, right? I mean, the two of them wrestling and kind of getting the upper hand and so on and so forth.
Easy Wheels started as my college project, and we now sell our wheel covers all around the world.
Now, one of the things that had gone on here is that when Jameson was being held, he believed his son, and even like for the first bit of the story, he believed his son was actually Spider-Man, that it wasn't Peter Parker. And the reality is that Peter Parker had talked Jameson into believing that his son was Spider-Man. Even though like Robbie Robertson is like, your son and Spider-Man have been seen together at the same time. How is it possible that your son could be Spider-Man if he's standing right next to him? And so it was one of those funny little things. But nonetheless, like, because of the fact that Jameson had previously believed Spider-Man could do no wrong, because he believed his son was Spider-Man, as soon as that revelation turned out to be untrue, it was back to business as usual, right? It was back to Jameson just being a dick and always having it out for Peter and trying to take him out. Now, at that point, you switch over to the origin of El Muerto, which is really, really interesting, to be honest. So the whole idea behind this is there's this guy named Estrada, I think is how you pronounce it, or Estrada, I'm not 100% sure how you pronounce it in Spanish,
bro.
but basically it's the father of El Muerto. And what it is that the role of El Muerto is really more of a title than anything else. That El Muerto is, by all standards of measurement, what you or I might call a luchador. Now, I'm not super familiar with Spanish wrestling. I know that like there's a lot of heritage when it comes to luchadors, and there's a lot of tradition that's there. So it's not necessarily something that you scoff your nose at.
Yeah, Gore, the God Butcher. I wish they would have had him in a different movie. Because Christian Bale, he tried, bro. He really tried.
Right? I mean, there's a lot going on there in terms of history and significance and that kind of stuff. But essentially, the role of El Muerto had been passed down to El Muerto's father from his father, and from his father going back to
Juan Carlos, so indeed ready. I have trained him his whole life for this moment. Go, my son, make me proud. Your son must do so. Is he ready?
Somewhere along the line. And so in order to basically take on that mantle, one, El Muerto had been trained by his father since the day he was born, since he was a little kid. And two, he has to wrestle this unnamed guy, basically do battle with him in order to demonstrate that he's worthy of the mantle.
But how does he not know Estrada, bro, when you literally got Eric Estrada? Like, bro, that's a common Spanish name. He had like, it was like a 18-letter last name, Estrada.
Fails, he will be killed. And that's exactly what happens. That in this moment, El Muerto basically backs off. He's like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with this. Like, I don't want to be part of this whole thing that you have going on, Dad. Like, it's nothing that I want to be a part of. But the fact that he's violated the tradition, both by basically demonstrating cowardice and backing away from a fight, and then by that very nature, losing, the response of this mysterious guy is, then it's done, right? Like Juan Carlos, basically his life is forfeit. Because of the fact that he backed away from this, he dishonored the tradition, and he obviously is not living up to the mantle of El Muerto. His life is over with. His father actually ends up jumping in to save the life of his son, and then his father's head is...
Well, they got rumors that they're supposed to show Kang kill some Avengers in the actual Ant-Man. Like I said earlier, I don't know if you was in the stream earlier, bro, that's gonna be crazy, bro, if they have it how they started Infinity War. If they start off with Kang killing, like, I don't know what Avenger they could kill. I don't know if it's gonna be Hawkeye. What if it's Hawkeye? That's gonna be crazy, bro, if they kill Hawkeye. Because it has to be, because they say they're gonna kill an Avenger from the 616. But who could it be that if they do, no one's gonna really care because they don't have a future? Like, Hawkeye gotta be it, but we all know the guy that played Hawkeye had that bad accident, so I don't think it'll be him. I just don't know what Avenger he could kill off. It can't be Hulk because Hulk got his son Scar, and he's gonna be in the future. I don't see it being. Oh, could it be Thor? Because I think they said, didn't Chris Hemsworth, whatever his name is, then he say he's not playing Thor no more. I wonder if they're gonna kill Thor. I don't know.
Ripped off. We don't see it on panel. I mean, it is a Spider-Man comic, right? I mean, Marvel's not really going to show us super gruesome stuff like that, but they will show us stories where Mary Jane Watson dies because of Peter Parker's irradiated fluids. We'll leave it there. Yes, that story did happen.
Hold on,
and
what?
Fluids will leave. Mary Jane Watson dies because of Peter Parker's irradiated fluids.
Did he? Hold on. Are they saying he nutted in Mary Jane and killed her? Because he has radiated nut?
Leave it there. Yes, that story did happen, and I don't know if it's in continuity. But because of the fact that El Muerto's father, Juan Carlos' father, had demonstrated bravery here, Juan Carlos himself is given 10 years by this mysterious
never knows how you spell
This
Mano.
guy's basically what he tells him is, you have 10 years to find your courage, if that's even.
I said no webs, just skills, but it has kill in red. That's dope. I never knew that's how you spell mano y mano. Never knew that. But this is what I'm saying, bro. How is this going to be a movie, like a movie by itself? This has to be like this is like a side storyline. Like how Spider-Man 3, the original Spider-Man series with Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man 3 had Venom, how that was like a side story. That's how this seems like it should be. It shouldn't be his own. Well, this gonna be worse than the vampire guy, whatever his name. I can't even think his name right now. Marvel failed Gore. What came? Yeah.
Possible. You have 10 years to train yourself to become more capable, and at the end of that 10 years, I will come for you. And so, in effect, because of the fact that El Muerto had saved the life of J. Jonah Jameson, what he wanted to do was basically challenge Spider-Man, because in doing so, he would be able to basically maintain his honor, right? If he's able to defeat someone out there in the world who is highly capable and is also masked, and then unmask them, it would basically prove himself being worthy in the eyes of this mysterious guy.
I mean, bro, to say Kane can't kill Thor, when they say he literally said, "You're an Avenger. Have I killed you before, bro?" So it's apparent he kills Avengers. I don't know what Avenger it is. I'm trying to figure out which Avenger he's probably gonna kill. We're gonna find out next Friday, bro. Should I do a movie review on it?
Hence the reason why this whole match is set up. Now, the reality here is it is somewhat of a charity thing. They're not really fighting to kill, right? I mean, it's not like this guy's gonna kill Peter Parker in the ring. It's simply just whoever it is that loses basically gets unmasked. Now, Peter Parker does not initially know this, and that's one thing to specify here. That this guy, basically at one point in the match, he says mascara contra mascara, which I think that's how you pronounce it. My Spanish is awful. I mean,
yeah, it is awful, bro. It's not hard, bro. This sounds like a Rey Mysterio fight. Remember when Rey Mysterio fought someone to have his mask taken off and he lost and had to show his face? That's literally, I think, where they stole this whole story from. They need to have Rey Mysterio in the movie.
Contra Mascara, which I'm sure.
Wakanda Forever, biggest mistake is killing T'Challa. The movie is not bad to me. I love the serious tone and Namor himself. Bro, I like Wakanda Forever. I ain't had no problem with it. But you know, bro, they're not gonna recast T'Challa. Even though most of us think they should. Bro, we know, bro, we know why they're not gonna recast him, bro. Even though they should, even though, bro, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman, bro. He was a phenomenal actor. He played that. I don't see anyone playing that part better than him, but the show must go on. Just like Robert Downey Jr., I don't see no one recasting Iron Man. The show must go on. Like, at some point, bro, we got to recast. No, I don't think the movie was bad. I don't think the movie was great, but I like Namor. I think he did a good job. Kukulkan. Thor unlocked his full potential. He could destroy an entire universe with just his lightning. Bro, I understand Thor is powerful and he's a god. I understand that. I'm just trying to see who Kang's going to kill with Avenger besides Ant-Man, because I think Ant-Man will die in this movie. I really do. I think Ant-Man's going to die in this movie, but I want to know who else is going to die. That's what I really want to know.
I think that's how you pronounce it. My Spanish is awful. I mean, it's really terrible. I apologize for you all out there
Mascara,
who are of
contra,
Spanish descent
mascara.
or who speak the Spanish language.
How hard
and
is
I'm just
that?
trouncing all over how things are supposed to be pronounced. I apologize. Spanish is not a language that I'm overly familiar with.
It's literally the second most famous language, bro, next to English.
But basically in saying that is whoever wins this match gets unmasked. Peter Parker, not realizing what's going on, just kind of blows off the statement. But as the two of them begin
Oh,
to
I can't
continue
help
on,
what
this is
showing
what
his
El Muerto
face.
basically tells him, because I'm defeating you now, like when I win, I will unmask you. Peter Parker's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you agreed to it, right? You literally agreed to that stance. Like, you know, whoever it is that wins basically gets to unmask the other person. Now, in the midst of this, and because Peter Parker has the Iron Spider suit, and because this is still a point in his history when he's not overly familiar with it, in this battle with El Muerto, you end up having this kind of poison blade that comes out from the suit itself, which isn't enough to kill El Muerto, but it's enough to knock him unconscious. And so because of the fact that it appears that he's been defeated, the mysterious man watching all this unfold basically says, you failed, right? Your life is forfeit. And so at that point, you switch over to a hospital, of course, J. Jonah Jameson always having it out for Peter. He's like, obviously Peter did this on purpose, right? Obviously,
he
Peter,
got a hard on for
Spider-Man
Peter
cheated
Parker.
because Spider-Man's a terrible person, and he rushed him here to the hospital, probably to assuage his guilty conscience, and then he's like, get me pictures of Spider-Man, you know, like that kind of a thing, right? The guy's just sort of being a dick. But ultimately, what ends up happening here is that as El Muerto begins to come to, of course, he's met by Jameson and he's met by Robbie Robertson, and they're like, look, man, you know, you were basically knocked unconscious, temporarily paralyzed because of a poison that was injected in you by Spider-Man, you know, that kind of a thing, but like, rest assured, everything's fine. You're in this hospital, there's no safer place to be, only for this mysterious man to appear out of nowhere. And what we end up finding out when Jameson asks who this guy is, he's literally like, I am El Dorado, right? El Dorado is this guy's name. Someone please explain to me how Sony's gonna be able to make a spin-off film about this. I can tell you right now, if Sony makes a movie about this, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be a terrible.
Fact, Morbius was horrible, bro. And if they make El Morodo, however you say it, I can't speak right now. It's gonna be worse than Morbius. I guarantee if they make this movie with just Bad Bunny, like, this is gonna be the worst superhero movie of all time. Not Morbius. Even though Morbius is ass and trash and all of that. It's hot dog water. This will be worse than Morbius. I guarantee it. Unless they make it just a part of Spider-Man 4 or something storyline. Just if it's just its own movie, it's gonna be ass.
Terrible film. Just bad. Like, Sony, for the love of God, just let me plan things out for you. Let me save you from yourself. Please let me do that. But nonetheless, right, the way this goes down is that you initially have Jameson who just starts talking trash to this guy, obviously, because as much as Jameson is a jerk, one thing you gotta credit him for is he almost never backs down, even when it's in his best interest to do so. He's just like literally talking trash to this guy. But in the end, like, El Dorado just like brandishes these two swords, right, these cutlasses, and it's like, time to get down to business, right? So literally take out El Muerto. Now, the thing about this is, of course, Peter Parker, his spider sense, he senses something going on, he ends up tracing it to his genesis point where it's happening, and he arrives here on scene. And ultimately, a fight breaks out between him and El Dorado, to the point where Peter's actually able to overcome this guy. Not necessarily in like a straight up fight, it's really more bobbing and weaving and just kind of dodging attacks and different things like that. But for the most part, Peter's kind of outclassed here. Now, here's one of the things to know about this. This is before Peter Parker was trained by Shang-Chi, right? That happened during Jonathan Hickman's Avengers, New Avengers. I need to go read that story again. But like, this is before Peter Parker learned his own martial arts style. And so up until this point, Peter Parker's fighting style was really more street fighting, if anything.
Bro, when it comes to Tobey Maguire, they need to have, and I think that's what they're gonna do. Miles Morales movie, Tobey Maguire be the guy that gives Miles Morales. Tobey Maguire needs to be Peter Parker in the Miles Morales movie. No, they already said Henry Cavill's out completely. Which is stupid, bro. Nobody looks more like Superman than Henry Cavill. Nobody. It's so stupid. I understand they want to go with a younger version or whatever, bro. They want to do like a year 2, whatever, Superman, bro. But Henry Cavill is the best Superman in my eyes. I think people want to say Christopher Reeves, I guess. I mean, I don't like Superman movies, period. I think they're too cheesy and not enough action. But I still think Henry Cavill was the best Superman. Hands down, bro. And I wish they would have did him right, which they're not going to, I don't think. Or they're going to try to get a younger guy. I want to see who the young guy is first before I can really react to it.
Right? It was kind of his own style, a blend of different styles that he'd learned over time. And so this guy being able to gain the upper hand is really more of the fact that he's just that prodigious of a fighter. Now, it's not like he's facing off against Taskmaster or anything like that, but El Dorado's pretty capable. And so all Peter really does here, or at least all he can do when he tries to web him up, right? His webs are just chopped to pieces. There's nothing he can do. And Peter Parker basically just bails off and literally buys himself some time. Now, what he ends up doing, of course, is traveling to the laboratory. But one of the things that this guy El Dorado says is that his ability to track people is highly prodigious, right? He's very, very capable. Now, he doesn't really have a spider sense like Peter does, but he does have kind of like a sixth sense, as it's illustrated, or the ability to track people to particular locations. And so literally, once he shows up here on the scene, and he realizes that Spider-Man is in this room, it's literally Spider-Man just kind of putting together a kind of cocktail. And as El Dorado is hunting for Spider-Man, and then like the moment he's about to catch him, then El Muerto shows up out of nowhere, and then kind of a fight breaks out between the two, even if only momentarily. Now, for El Muerto, this is a pretty
All
big...
right, so if we want to get into the DC thing, bro, this is how I feel. They're going forward with Ezra. From what I see, bro, they're going forward with Ezra Miller. I think Jason Momoa, he said he's coming back. But I heard Gal Gadot, whatever her name is, isn't. They said no. I don't think Ben Affleck, he ended up playing a decent Batman, but I never thought he was going to be, because he's old, bro. Like, I swear, I think DC period comics is working ass backwards, bro. They don't think about the future. They're just trying to have microwave type of movies. They should have already had, like how Ezra's young. Jason Momoa is young enough. Why are you having these old people like Ben Affleck when you know that they can't be around 10 years from now? You need to start off, and I think James Gunn's going to do a good job with that. They need to start off with young people that could play the role for 10 to 15 years. Like, they need to really take notes from Marvel. I want to see what they do in the Marvel, in the Flashpoint movie. In the Flashpoint, I want to see what they do, how they do everything, because I think that's going to be key. I think the Flash movie is going to tell us exactly what we need to know about DCU moving forward. Because everything James Gunn put was cool and everything, but we're going to really see... Because some of those shows and everything, like, I don't care about. Like, that cartoon that James Gunn said he's going to do, I don't care about. Yeah, he does need to recast everybody. I don't want to see the... Ezra Miller, it's funny that he's the one that they really want to keep. He's the one that gets in real trouble in real life. He keeps getting arrested, but that's who they want to move forward with. They need to recast everybody. They need... And in Marvel, they need... I want to see them hurry up and recast Wolverine, bro. I'm tired of them playing around with who Wolverine's going to be. Bro, stop playing and just give us Wolverine, bro. Let us know who Wolverine is. Let us know who Mr. Fantastic is going to be, because I don't think it's going to be Jim from The Office. I'm tired of it. They need to go ahead and stop playing and really tell us who all these people are going to be. Because DC, to me, DC has better characters. I think they do. I just think it's poor execution from everybody. They literally could be better than Marvel in my eyes. if they did everything right. They just need to wipe the slate clean, start all over, day one, get everybody young, build them up. They literally could take over from Marvel, because I don't know if you noticed, but Marvel's kind of on a decline. There's some stuff, a lot of people aren't liking what Marvel's doing right now. And I think DC could take over if they did it right. And I don't know if James Gunn is the right person to do what Kevin Feige's done. I don't know if he can. I know his mind's into it, and then he's old. Kevin Feige 15 years ago was probably only like 35. This man's damn near 50, I think, right now. If they still with these, then remove Henry is the worst decision ever. Poor that man. He was excited for his future career as Superman. And that's the thing. All right, so Henry Cavill literally could play Superman, I think, for the next 15 years. He's young enough to do it. The Rock's damn near 60 already, bro. Like, how like, The Rock was a horrible casting choice for Black Adam. Like, how long can Rock play Black Adam? Now, I like Shazam guy. I don't even know his real name. But I think he could play the character for the next 10 years. Henry Cavill could play it for the next 10 to 15 years. They should never have had The Rock as Black Adam. I didn't even like that movie. A lot of people liked the movie. I didn't like it. I think if you really like into the comic book movies, you don't like it. I think just the people just watching, I think, like it. They just need to go with youth. That's what it is, bro. You can only... Time is everybody's worst enemy. You're not going to be able to do this. Like, that's why they had to do it with Robert Downey Jr., bro. He's getting old. That's why your boy Batista said he doesn't want to do it no more. This is why this is going to be his last movie in Guardian of the Galaxy 3. Because he said, bro, it's hard on his body to keep trying to be in shape like that, bro. And he's like 45. Yeah, she is. Only 21, bro. You can grow. Bro, she literally could play that role for 20 years in her 40s. Like, and then X-Men, bro. X-Men is my passion project. The X-Men is my favorite cartoon show of all time. And I hate the way they did X-Men all these years. They better not they better do Gambit. They better do X-Men right. I'm going to be so pissed, bro, if they don't do X-Men right. We need to go ahead and get a new Professor X. Get a new Wolverine. I know Wolverine, Hugh Jackman's going to be in this, in the Deadpool movie. Okay, that's cute and everything. But we need to go ahead and get, all of them need to be young, bro. And when I say young, I don't mean like 18, 19. Like, you can have some 30-year-olds. You have some late 20-year-olds, but I hated I always felt like Magneto. I didn't like Magneto either. I felt like the first Magneto was decent.